This story is about a snake that rescues a girl from its own queen. At the start of the story, we see a mountain where numerous snakes reside. We hear a voice saying that since the world is created, humans have been betraying the trust of those who loved them. The queen of snakes said long ago, "O human, don't love me." However, a man fell in love with the snake queen Sahmaran. That man deceived Sahmaran and killed her. After that, he had nothing left but regret and sorrow. After that, many questions arose. Is he a human who always deceives? We are shown a man who falls from the mountain and see he died. But in reality, he didn't die. And he was the same man who deceived Sahmaran. Now, neither did he die nor was he living a peaceful life. After that, we are shown a girl in the story whose name was Sahsu. She was eating some medicine in the bathroom. And after a lot of courage, she gets on the train. We find out that Sahsu was leaving her city and going to her grandpa. When she comes to her grandpa, she questions him. Because her grandpa had left her mom for no reason. She questions her grandpa in anger and then leaves. A girl standing far away was looking at Sahsu. And she tells her brother Marin about her. Looking at her, it seemed as if she was waiting for Sahsu. Marin's sister comes and tells all this to her dad. When Marin's dad hears this, he tells her to find Sahsu immediately. What was the reason for all this? We will find out in the story. After that, Sahsu comes to her university. Because she was a lecturer in psychology. And she came to her grandpa's city because she had a presentation. When her senior hears this presentation, she asks her, "Why don't you stay here for a semester and teach?" Sahsu didn't refuse and agrees to it. When she comes back from the university, her grandpa comes to her, and tells her that her mom knew where I was. That's why she used to write a letter to me. He gives all the letters to Sahsu as proof. When Sahsu finds out about this, she thinks why her mom was so worried. To know all this, Sahsu starts reading her mom's letter. She wrote exactly what Sahsu was now. She didn't feel sleepy or peaceful. She had weird dreams. When Sahsu goes to sleep, she sees that her mom is in a lot of trouble. She wakes up from her sleep. She had to take a bath. But she finds out that the hotel she was staying in didn't have water in the washroom. That's why she goes to the lake and takes a bath. But then, suddenly, a strong gust of wind came and took away Sahsu's clothes. Marin was also there, and Sahsu asks for help from Marin. And this is where they meet for the first time. When Marin goes home, he gets very angry at his family. Because they had sent him to a lake on purpose. Because Marin's family used to say that a prophecy is a truth. For that, Marin has to meet Sahsu. But Marin didn't believe in such nonsense. That's why he was getting angry at his family. That same night, Sahsu goes to a festival where she sees a woman selling lockets. She was telling everyone about Sahmaran's story that she will come back and revive love again. Sahsu didn't believe in such things either. But still, I don't know what happened to her. She buys the locket. That's when she hears a snake there. And she goes near the burning fire. But suddenly, the fire started. There was fire all around. And that's when Sahsu faints. Marin comes there and saves her. And he leaves her at her grandpa's house. When Sahsu wakes up in the morning, she asks her grandpa how I came here. He tells her that he saw her sleeping. So I thought you must have come by yourself. That's when Sahsu goes to Marin's house. She asks him what happened last night. But he clearly said that nothing like that happened. Neither was there a fire nor did I save you. Sahsu was very upset. She wanted to know what was happening to her. After that, we see Marin's family. They were sitting and talking. That fire is the first sign of that prediction. Sahsu is the girl who can be useful to us. But Marin was still against his dad's words. He says that because of your stupid predictions I won't put anyone's life in danger. Because he knew that if Sahsu falls in love with him, she will have to pay a heavy price. Sahsu throws away all her medicines. Because she felt that these medicines are affecting her brain badly. She can see all that is not real. On the other hand, we know that Marin was not an ordinary boy. He was a shape-shifting snake. He was both a snake and a human. His family was also made up of snakes. After that, we see some people at a place. They went on a trip to Sahmaran's fort. But God knows what happened to them. And one by one, they jump into the well. This video spread a lot. After that, we see a girl in this story. She had snakes all over her body. And she was telling her servant that Sahsu has come now. Play with her mind and bring her to me. This meant that she should be trapped in such problems that she herself comes to me. Who was this girl and what was her connection with Sahsu? We will get to know this in the story. Sahsu was now at her grandpa's house. When she was leaving, her grandpa didn't talk to her. But he gives her the car keys. She comes out and talks to Marin. They became good friends. There, Marin talks to his dad and a man. He too was slowly starting to believe in predictions. That man says that we suppressed the fire incident. But everyone knows about the well incident. And the enemy is also aware. Marin's sisters were also talking about this. Which tells us that the girl wrapped in snakes is their enemy, of all the shape-shifting snakes. That is, the humans who could have become humans. Sahsu is shown there. Her senior at the university introduces her to a boy named Sion, who will help her in the future project. As soon as Sion meets her, he was getting very freaky with Sahsu. When Sahsu watches the video of the well, she gets scared. Then she remembers that the locket she bought on the day of the festival, where is it? It was lost in that fire incident. That's why she goes to the market to find the stall woman. Where she does not find a woman. But a man is seen following her. Who was wearing black clothes. And his face was covered. Seeing this, when Sahsu goes behind him, he disappeared. There was another man there. Who was misbehaving with Sahsu. And all the people there were looking at her with strange eyes. Sahsu gets very worried seeing all this. On the way, she meets Marin. She meets him and tells him everything. Marin tells him that you should go back home. This place is dangerous for you. But on the contrary, instead of understanding what Sahsu says, she says to him, "What do you know about me that you are giving me such advice?" Marin says, "I can see. You are scared." After hearing this, Sahsu became silent. Because it was really like that. Marin's sister talks to him at night. She says, "Why don't you believe everything? You and Sahsu need each other. You are the one who is made for her." But Marin says, "No. I can't do this." And because of this prediction, many women have lost their lives. First Sahsu's mother and then our mother. I will not tolerate all this anymore. But despite all this, Marin was not going away from Sahsu. Sahsu's grandfather was taking the same medicines that Sahsu used to take. This meant that it was some of their family disease. When Sahsu was sleeping at night, the same suspicious man comes into her room. Sahsu's locket was also with him. A very big snake comes there. It was wrapped around Sahsu while sleeping. When Sahsu gets scared of all this, she didn't know about it. Was it a dream or reality? That's why Sahsu got tired of all this and went to swim in the lake. The next morning when she goes to the university, then Sion tells her to take her with him to eat food. When they were eating food, when Sahsu goes to the washroom, she heard the sound of snakes from there. And she felt like it was the sound of water. But as soon as she left, the same man was there who was following her till now. When Sion leaves Sahsu's house, Marin was also standing outside his house. He was looking at them. This tells us that Marin knew Sion. They had some relationship, but it was not good. Now at night, Sahsu sees the marks on her grandfather's hands. They were like those made by tying hands. The next day when Sahsu was at the university, Marin's sister calls her sister to take care of Sahsu. But before that, it was too late to take care of her. She sees the man who was following her. While following him, she came to an empty room. When she goes inside, Sahsu sees a very big snake there. And the door of the room was closed by itself. But Sion comes there and saves her. And says that this is just your illusion and nothing else. Sahsu was fed up with these incidents that happened to her. She goes to her house. But then we come to know that Sion was also a snake, and he was sent to take care of Sahsu. An old man comes to Marin's dad. He was telling him that the smell of revenge is not coming from the fort of Sahmaran but from here. These snakes don't believe in predictions now. And if their reality comes in front of humans that snakes like us live among them, then it won't be good for anyone. The old man says that if there is no love between humans and snakes again, then Sahmaran will not be able to come back. And it will be very bad for all of us. There Sahsu reads her mom's next note. In which it was written that she has a sleeping disorder. And this was the reason that she used to tie herself and sleep. That's when Sahsu remembers her grandpa's marks. She comes to know that this disease is her mom's. And she has inherited it. When she checks, she gets medicines from her grandpa's wardrobe. When her grandpa comes home at night, Sahsu was very drunk. She tells her grandpa that because of you my and my mom's life was ruined. But her grandpa makes her quiet. That's when Marin sees how drunk Sahsu is. So he goes to her. But Sahsu was doing strange things with him. When it was morning, Marin was sleeping on the chair. Sahsu goes to him. He tells her that you were drunk last night. And I could have taken advantage of you if I wanted to. But I didn't do that. When Sahsu was painting with her grandpa, they tell each other about their disease. They were trying to fix their relationship. Sahsu goes to Marin. They started liking each other. But when Marin was with Sahsu, he feels as if he has a snake. And Marin had caught that snake. When he comes to his dad, his dad says that how long will this fight of snakes continue? We're shown that Sion comes to meet Sahsu. When he was going home, we get to know that he was the son of the man who used to work with Marin's dad. But now Sion was also against Marin. His dad tells him that look, we should leave what is of no use. And you stay away from Sahsu. The next morning, when Sahsu wakes up, she was in the jungle. She was not able to understand herself. Why is this happening to her? Then a snake comes and bites her. At the same time, there was also a man who was following her. Before that, he does something to Sahsu. Marin comes and saves her. And he also removes the poison from her body. He took her to his house, where the rest of the treatment is done by his sister. When Sahsu wakes up in the morning, Marin tells her that I met you unconsciously. You were bitten by a snake. Sahsu believes him and goes to her house. But now Sahsu remembered everything. What happened to her? That's why she wanted to know about all that. The snake that Marin had caught, Marin goes to him and asks him why he did this. He says that humans are our enemies. And they want to make animals their slaves. But the snake will not tolerate this now. That's why my queen and I will fight against humans together. He was talking about the same queen whom we had seen wrapped in snakes. And the man who was following Sahsu was also his slave. Marin says that okay, I agree. But will you also fight a war? What difference will there be between us and humans? The snake says that our queen has woken up. And in the next scene, we see the girl wrapped in snakes awake. Her awakening was going to be disastrous. Now Sahsu also came to Marin's house, where she wanted to know the truth. Who are these people? And what is her relationship with them? But Marin's entire family confuses her in their talks. But Marin's sister found out that Sahsu knows everything. Their Marin's skin also started peeling off, because of the new skin of these snakes that grow. And during this time, they also become very weak. At the university, Sahsu wanted to know about Shahmaran. That's why she tells her students to do research on it. When Sion sees this, he gets very worried. Marin had also come here. Seeing Marin, Sion says that you should also befriend me. Because you and I know each other's reality. And who knows, in the future you may need me. And he gives his card to Marin and leaves. Marin took Sahsu to his old mansion, where he tells him the story of falsehood. That we have a lot of enemies here. And our family fight has been going on for years. Now two stories are told to us here. One is found out about Marin that he has a lot of secrets with him. On the other hand, Sahsu's family, which had never been able to live in peace till today. But one thing was the same in both of them. That both of them were alone. And both needed each other. They started liking each other. When they were together, Marin's snakeskin started coming out. He goes away from Sahsu. His enemies also came to know about this. That Marin has become weak now. Then he calls Sion. And goes after taking Sahsu. On the way, he tells him that I love you. And we both will go away from here to spend our new life. Sahsu is surprised to hear this. But then she agrees. And goes to her house and says that I will think and tell you. Marin's condition was also very bad after going to his house. On the other hand, we see a woman, who was finding out about the future. That what is going to happen now. All the animals and cows in the town were dying. And the girl wrapped in snakes was also getting alive. Which was a big sign of destruction. When Marin was at home, his sister messaged Sahsu that he is leaving the house for a few days. Because for a few days, Marin could not meet Sahsu. And tells Sion to keep an eye on Sahsu. But Sion took her to the place of snakes. Because he was deceiving Marin. Where all the shape-shifting snakes were. And everyone was looking at Sahsu with very strange eyes. But he saves her and brings her back to her house. And apologizes that he took her to such a place. Sahsu was now scared from all sides. She goes to Marin's house and calls his number. When she hears the bell of his phone. Now she felt that Marin is playing a game with her. When Sahsu was eating with her grandfather and other people at night. Then her grandfather talks. That all the animals are dying in the town. And then also this happened. When I left my daughter. When Sahsu hears this, she was ready to go with Marin. She said yes to him. But many days pass. Neither Marin gets any message nor phone. Because he was in the basement due to his new skin growth. When Sahsu was swimming in the lake at night. Then she meets Sion. Who tells her to take her somewhere with him. Then Marin comes here. Sahsu was not understanding anything. Because both Sion and Marin had disappeared. They were fighting like snakes. Marin had injured Sion. After that, he comes in front of Sahsu. He says please go away from here with me. But now Sahsu was scared. And she says to Marin. What is the truth? What game do you want to play with me? Then Sahsu gets a call. Her grandfather had gone somewhere. Marin leaves Sahsu at home. And assures her that don't worry. I will bring your grandfather safely. And we see that Sahsu's grandfather was standing on the mountain. The man we saw at the beginning of the story. He was also going to jump from there. But Marin saves him. Marin comes home and tells his dad that Sion was taking Sahsu to the enemies. On this, Marin's dad decides to punish him. But here the man who used to work with him. That means Sion's dad. Sion's dad tells him to give my son one more chance. I will make him understand. But when he goes to his son, after seeing him injured, now he also decides that he will support that man in black clothes. And will take Sahsu to his queen. All of them together control Sahsu's senior, who takes Sahsu to Shahmaran's mansion the next day, saying that they have a trip. Sahsu goes to the same well, where people had jumped. There she sees her lost locket, which was hanging there, when she was about to go inside to take it. Then Marin's sister comes and saves her. There Marin goes to Sion, and threatens him, that you stay away from Sahsu. On the other hand, Marin's sister, after seeing the senior, got to know that he is affected by a snake. The enemies have taken control of her. When Sahsu comes home, the same woman was taking care of her grandpa, whom we had seen before, who knew about the future. She tells her grandpa to take him to the hospital. Sahsu tells her grandpa that you are very important to me. There was a feast in Marin's house at night, where Marin's dad calls everyone. Now because Sahsu and Marin were away for so many days, they go to the lake to spend some time. Here at the feast Sahsu's grandpa was also not feeling well. Because of this he also went to his house. Marin's sister ties that senior, so that they can take out the snake hidden inside her. On the other hand, on the lake, Marin sees the marks of the snake on Sahsu's back. And he is very happy. It meant that Sahsu had also become a snake. Or Marin had made her like him. Now he and Marin come back to the feast. Marin takes out the snake from that senior's mouth, because of which she also became free. On the other hand, Marin's servant's wife, who was about to become a mother, her condition also deteriorates. Maybe this was the last prophecy, that a person will give birth to a snake. Marin's family helps her. On the other hand, Marin was with her at Sahsu's house. His grandpa had taken poison. That's why Marin came in his real form to save him. That means in the form of a shape-shifting snake. Now here we come to know the real story. That Sahsu's grandpa was the man who had loved Sahmaran and had cheated her. Here Marin tells Sahsu that your grandpa had cheated the Sahmaran queen, and he told humans about her fort address. Sahmaran's sister came to know about this. She went against the humans. So Sahmaran imprisoned her in a deep well with her powers, and gave all her powers to your grandpa, with which he could never die, no matter what happens. And his punishment will be endured by his next generation. When they try to die, they come back to life. And again, after losing their memory, they start living a new life. And the prophecy is that a person will fall in love with a snake. The person will be from your grandpa's family. That means you, and a human will have to sacrifice this time. He will have to live with the snakes under the ground. Sahsu didn't understand anything about all this. She ran and went to the jungle. There we are shown Marin's dad, who tells that we have to sacrifice Sahsu. They didn't even tell Marin about this. Here the same man attacks Sahsu in the jungle, who was following him till now. But Sahsu escapes from him with her powers. Was Sahsu also a snake now? A snake came to Sahsu's house and killed her grandpa too. Sahsu and Marin both accepted their reality, that they both are snakes now. But they didn't know that this was just the beginning. Because Sahmaran's sister was awake. What was going to happen with Sahsu and Marin now? No one knew. And with this, the story ends here.